Lailah tells it all. Lailah tells it all. Lailah.
What's up, you guys? I am here with Josiah from Josiah's World TV, also known as Cocktails with Josiah, and we are here today drinking our cold water and talking about these hot topics. Now, the first issue we want to talk about is actually a very serious issue. There has been a video that's gone viral of a trans woman named Iyanna Dior who was attacked in Minneapolis. She was attacked after a fender bender. That's all we know so far, is there was a fender bender and about 20 men attacked her. Baller Alert reports a black trans woman by the name of Iyanna Dior was brutally beaten by 20 plus black men Monday night in Minneapolis over an alleged fender bender. In a video that has gone viral on social media, Dior is seen being punched on and kicked by several men inside of a convenience store before being taken outside. During the beating outside, Dior somehow manages to escape and goes behind the counter of the store where onlookers stood between her and her attackers. The exact cause of what led to the disturbing attack has not yet been disclosed. After the attack, Dior posted a video on her Facebook page and described the injuries that she received.
But no, I'm gonna get up off of here in a second because I'm ready to go to sleep. I actually don't feel good. She said all of them, and you don't even have a busted lip at least. Well, no, the whole side of my face is literally like, it's swollen, like it hurts so bad. The whole side of my face from like here to here is really swollen, it hurts. And then on my forehead, I have like, if you run your hands across it, these are knots. Like that's a long patch of scratches, but I have knots on my face, literally. And then my fucking arm is just swollen, it hurts so bad, I think I need to go to the hospital. My bottom teeth, it had went inside of my lips, and then my lips are cut on the inside. A lot of shit happened. She said, I can see the swelling bruising. It hasn't even came yet. I know, that's what I said. The swelling's gonna come in tomorrow. I don't even know how I'm gonna deal with this. My CASHAPP is the one that I posted on my page. I posted it on my Facebook page. Thank you, boo. I will be safe. You still fine. Thank you. But yeah, I'm finna get up off of here though now, guys. I was just coming in here to tell you guys that. You said you're still pretty. Thank you.
I was disgusted to see a group of people to attack this young lady like this. So when you think of people in trans, when you think of our community, you know, you have to include queer in Black Lives Matter. Black trans women matter.
Yes.
Black trans people matter. Black queer people matter. You cannot fight for rights for Black Lives Matter and then you go ahead and go back and then attack somebody of your own. It's already rough being black, but being a black person of queer and being a black person of trans, you have everybody at you. I feel like that when you say Black Lives Matter, it includes all African American lives of all, whatever your religion is. You can be Muslim, and I mean, are you going to exclude them? Because I'm Muslim and I'm black, you're going to exclude me? You know, no, like pretty much like regardless of what sexuality you are or your religion, like all Black Lives Matter, and people need to see that. You know, you cannot fight for equality and not include the queer community in it.
Yeah, and a lot of times the queer community, a lot of them are the ones out there fighting and leading, you know, the movements.
Lailah, is mainly, listen, the people that I'm seeing in the forefront is mainly black women and black queer men. That's what I'm mainly seeing. But see, people are not ready for that conversation. Where are your favorite rappers, honey? Where are your favorite?
We're gonna get to one of our favorite rappers in a minute. We're gonna get to one of our favorite rappers in a minute. So speaking of including queer people and everyone, not just heterosexual people in the Black Lives Matter movement, we have Justice Smith, who starred in the movie Jurassic Park. speaking out and coming out on his Instagram, but speaking out about people who have a trans experience, people of the trans experience, and the LGBTQ plus community not being included in the Black Lives Matter movement. Vulture reports Justice Smith, who you may know from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, advocated for queer and trans inclusion in the Black Lives Matter movement while also coming out publicly as queer in an Instagram post Friday night. The actor shared his experience at a Black Lives Matter protest in New Orleans, writing that he was, quote, disappointed to see certain people eager to say Black Lives Matter, but hold their tongue when trans or queer was added. And he attended the protest with his partner, Queen Sugar actor Nicholas Ash. I know you guys know his face. And he emphasized that if your revolution does not include Black queer voices, it's anti-Black. And he also referenced the death of Tony McDade, a trans man who was shot and killed by police in Florida on May 27th. He said, quote, you're trying to push yourself through the door of a system designed against you and then shut the door behind you. And he explained that the movement should not be about appealing to, quote, whiteness, straightness, maleness, but instead about demanding, quote, what should have been given to Black, queer, and trans individuals from the beginning, which is the right to exist. And he finished his caption by thanking his partner, Nicholas Ash, who he calls his rock and guiding light throughout all of this.
Justice Smith, first of all, I will say this. I'm proud of him for acknowledging his sexuality. I'm proud of him in this time, even in the midst of chaos, confusion, that he comes out and be his true self. Kudos to Justice. I feel like that, I mean, honestly, I kind of knew. I didn't want to say anything because you don't never question somebody's sexuality, but I kind of knew. But he made a really good point, Lailah. He made a really good point. So he pretty much like talked about the murder of Tony McDade, who has been killed by Tallahassee police in Florida, and that really haven't made like major headlines, but that was a really like crazy situation as well. And he said, if your revolution does not include Black queer voice, it's anti-Black. So that really moved me because he is so right. Like, he is so right on that.
Is it a revolution? Is it really? To me, a revolution is a turning over. You know what I'm saying? Like, you turning over, like they toppling down these buildings. You turning over stuff. Is it a revolution if it don't include everybody? Is it really a revolution?
You cannot fight for us, against white supremacy and then close down your queers because of whatever. And this is a historical thing as well about homosexuality in the Black community. It has always been looked down on, especially for Christians.
Yes.
So you can't do that. You cannot close the door behind you and then try to fight and say that you're here for Black Lives Matter when you're not fighting for all people. I am a queer Black Christian. So I have seen discrimination from all aspects, even within my own family. I grew up in the church home. I have seen discrimination within the church home, and I have seen how it plays out.
I feel like in the Black community and just, in humanity in general, there's still like a system, almost like a caste system, where certain people at the top, like white men are at the top, white women are next. And even in the Black community, there's a caste system. There's an order that people want to walk through this door of inclusion and diversity. And I do feel like there is a tendency for the Black Lives Matter movement to say Black men first, Black women next, and then maybe Black queer people. And even, maybe. And I think that's what he was getting at when he was saying about you're trying to walk through that door. I think he's referring to Black heterosexual men, possibly Black heterosexual women too, that you're trying to walk through that door and you're trying to close it behind you. And we've seen that happen historically, even in our country with the right to vote, where Black men got the right to vote before white women. And white women were like, we next in the hierarchy.
And that's what started the Women's Right Act. That's what started the Women's Act of 1920 to vote. Mainly caused by white women. Yes, Caucasian women.
That they didn't get the right to vote before black men, because in the hierarchy, there's this hierarchy in our country, and and white women felt that they were next. And I feel like it's the same thing going on with the Black Lives Matter movement, that we want to do it like a processional, like a certain group of people first, then the next group of people. And I don't feel like a revolution is the same as a procession. Like we're not entering the church. This is not the choir coming in the building. I feel like if it's really a revolution, it's everybody. Like everybody bum rushing the door. Everybody. You know, black men, black women, people of the trans experience, LGBTQ plus community, like everybody at the same time. Nobody first.
What if George Floyd was a homosexual gay man, African American man? Would he have gotten this much outrage?
I want to hope so, but I don't know for sure. Because this is what somebody explained to me, because I was concerned about George Floyd. He's not, I don't want to separate. I'm all for black unity, but you know, if we look at specifics, I was concerned that George Floyd and Breonna Taylor were killed by police around the same time, but George Floyd was getting more attention. And I felt like it was because he's male. And someone said to me, they don't feel like it's because he's male. They feel like it's because it happened in broad daylight. Like it happened in the street in broad daylight. So part of me, like the hopeful part of me wants to think that if it was a black gay male that was killed in the street in broad daylight, that he would get that same type of attention, but I'm not sure. And that's the sad part about it. I'm not sure.
I'm going to be honest. I would not. I don't think so. I don't think that if he was a homosexual black man, it would not have gotten the same outrage or, you know, caused the same spark.
The American public is funding this. Like, we're funding the police. Technically, the police are working for us. Technically, our tax dollars pay their salaries. So we're funding this. And so there is a movement within the Black Lives Matter community to defund the police. Some people are at one end of the spectrum where they want to abolish the police completely. And some people are at the other end of the spectrum where they want to lower funds, like decrease funds, and support other organizations, like other social service organizations that support the community instead of being so heavy on police in the community. BET.com reports Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser had Black Lives Matter painted on the street that leads to the White House, as well as changed the name of the street of 16th Street to Black Lives Matter Plaza. The road has been a popular place for demonstrators to protest, and now, according to Bowser, it's a commemorative area to honor protesters and the lives of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and everyone who has lost their lives to police brutality and white supremacy. Her chief of staff wrote, quote, "There was a dispute this week about whose street this is. Mayor Bowser wanted to make it abundantly clear that this is DC Street and to honor demonstrators who were peacefully protesting on Monday evening." On Friday morning, June 5th, people were seen painting the words Black Lives Matter in large block letters in yellow on 16th Street, which leads to Lafayette Square and the White House. While many are applauding the move, others, including the official DC chapter of the Black Lives Matter Global Network, says the gesture is empty and that Mayor Bowser has been on the wrong side of Black Lives Matter DC. He says this is a performative distraction from real policy changes. Bowser has consistently been on the wrong side of BLM DC history. This is to appease white liberals while ignoring our demands. Black Lives Matter means defund the police. Now, I want to get into what defund the police actually means, and this is a brief definition from The Guardian. It says, for years, community groups have advocated for defunding law enforcement, which means taking money away from police and prisons and reinvesting those funds in services. The basic principle is that government budgets and public safety spending should prioritize housing, employment, community health, education, and other vital programs instead of police officers. Advocates argue that defunding is the best way forward since attempts to reform police practices over the last 5 years has failed, as evidenced by the brutal killing of George Floyd. The groups have a wide range of demands, with some seeking modest reductions and others viewing full defunding as a step toward abolishing contemporary police services.
So listen, so when I researched this, Lailah, like I was conflicted as hell. First of all, I'm happy that she is putting Black Lives Matter in front of the White House, because it's Black Lives do matter, and you know I can see where the movement is coming from with her saying that, you know, maybe they feel like that she's doing it for show, but this is good. And then let's not forget that the mayor of DC is an African American woman as well. So with her putting Black Lives Matter on there on 16th Street, like this, it shouldn't be no issue. Like it shouldn't be no issue. I think that it needs to be brought out to attention, because now with these protests, everything is being brought out to forefront. Now,
Right.
I've been what I mainly been conflicted was about the police. Should we reword the question to police reform?
Well, they said that's not working. Police brutality reform is not working. It's not working. Like the training to reform police is not working, and that's why people want to just defund the police. Because if we fund them, we're financing what they're doing, and they're not doing the right thing. Let's just stop financing it, because the reform is not working.
Majority of me, like 75% of me, agree that the police team need to be debunked. But at the same time, I just feel like okay, like what if something serious happened? Now, in our communities, when you like the hood communities and everything, the police do not come that quickly. Like I can see what other people are saying, where police only service like higher upper white people, because they don't do nothing for us. They don't do anything for us at all.
I'm like, I do believe in decreasing funding, especially if the funding is going to social services that actually help the community. And I've seen some research that says, like, they've tested this out, where if you put more money to social services, like getting people jobs, you know, taking care of people's mental health issues and addressing social services issues in the community, instead of proactive policing where police are standing there waiting for something to happen, it actually lowers the reported crime rate. I'm not against defunding the police, because in studies it's been seen as being helpful.
And check this out. It has been tested in the state of California. It has been tested, and it has been successfully working. So this could be something, you know. Yeah. But first of all, we need to listen, New York, NYPD, I don't live in New York, but I heard a lot of tea and stories that's going on in New York. Yeah. They need to start first, and then let's go and move down to the south.
I definitely think it's worth looking at, and I feel like a lot of people who want to abolish the police are looked at as being extremists, but I think they have a point. I don't think they're extremists at all. I think they definitely have a point.
Tired